Hello and welcome to Tête-à-Tête France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest today is Thailand's Foreign Minister Sihasak. Thank you very much for being our guest, Mr. Foreign Minister.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on your program. I used to be ambassador of Thailand to France, so I really enjoyed the chance to come back to France again.
Sure, our pleasure. So I want to talk first and foremost about the situation between Thailand and its neighbor Cambodia. So despite a ceasefire reached in late December, the situation at the border remains volatile. Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Manet claimed just a few days ago that Thailand continues to occupy parts of Cambodia, not only at the border, but deep inside Cambodia, beyond Thailand's own unilaterally claimed boundary line. Can you respond to those very serious allegations?
Well, first of all, we have reached a ceasefire agreement, but the fact is that the ceasefire is still fragile. I think at this moment in time, we have to work to de-escalate the situation, try to build up trust and confidence so that we can move forward in our relationship. Now, as to the claim that Thailand is occupying Cambodia's territory, I think the fact is that we agreed as part of the ceasefire to that our troops would stay where they are, right, where they are, and then work towards an eventual agreement as to the boundary between our two countries. And I think Prime Minister Hun Manet forgot to mention that before the conflict, there was encroachment clearly by the Cambodian side into Thai territory. So I think we have to really look at the facts. And I think the facts right now is that we have to work to avoid escalation. We have to avoid acts of provocation. We have to avoid misinformation and disinformation and keep things calm so that, we can move forward with the relationship. Thailand, we believe that ultimately with all our neighbors, we have to live in peace. We have to live in common prosperity. And this is our objective. I can assure you that.
Mr. Foreign Minister, I just want to go back to things that the Cambodian Prime Minister said. He said Thai troops had placed shipping containers, barbed wire, inside areas that Thailand previously recognized as Cambodian territory. I mean, you're saying we agreed on the ceasefire that we remain where we are, but do you agree, do you acknowledge that you are on Cambodian territory and for now that your troops are not going to move from there?
I did disagree because in areas where, we have placed barbed wires or containers, these are areas that are within Thai territory, areas that they have encroached into Thai territory for quite some time. And this goes back to the days of the Cambodia conflict, when we opened up our borders to 400,000 refugees from Cambodia. And after the conflict ended and they were able to restore peace, many of the villagers did not go back to their territory. And so what the claim that we are going beyond what is our territory, I think that's totally not correct.
The Thai Prime Minister Anutin vowed to take a strong stance on Cambodia. No retreat, no dismantling, no opening of border. Prior to the recent elections that took place in your country, he had also promised to build a border wall between both countries. Is still this project? Is it still on or not?
Well, we have to do what we must to defend our sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Including a border wall?
And, well, if there may be certain parts where we have to take preventive action to avoid certain encroachment. But I think, all this depends very much on the attitude of the Cambodian side, whether, they they really want to pursue peace with Thailand or whether they still want to pursue the path of conflict. It's their decision to make. It's the Cambodian side that keeps internationalizing the conflict. It's the Cambodian side that, even after the ceasefire, they still, make claims that are not true. And I think what both sides should be working on now is to 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 exercise self-restraint, to avoid acts of provocation, and to move forward our relationship. But what the Cambodian side is doing is, making claims and I think going backward rather than moving forward in our relationship.
Well, if you are saying we need to talk to each other, a very simple and straightforward question. Do you talk to the Cambodian foreign minister? And are both prime ministers talking at all to each other?
Well, I talk, I'm on WhatsApp with the Cambodian foreign minister. I think that's very important to avoid misunderstanding, to avoid a situation that can ignite further conflict. So I am talking with my Cambodian colleague. And, right now, we just had election and we're in the process of forming a new government. Many of the issues that the Cambodian would like to discuss, I think we'll have to wait after the new government is formed in Thailand. And I told my Cambodian colleague that. So in the meantime, let's try to keep things calm. Let's try to avoid situation that could lead to further conflict. And further conflict means more losses. I don't think that's in the interest of our two countries.
Yes, there was also a recent incident at sea. The Cambodian accused Thai Navy of intercepting three Cambodians in their territorial waters. Thailand says, no, they were in Thailand. Can you tell us exactly what this means and
But
what happened?
it, it, it means that if they intrude in territory, we have to take action. You
But they
know,
say it was
but
in Cambodia.
well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that. And that again, this is the tactics that the Cambodians have always employed. To put pressure on Thailand, to portray Thailand as the more aggressive country. That's not the case at all. Thailand is a country that prides itself on a long tradition of diplomacy. We are the only country in Southeast Asia that has been able to maintain our independence because we believe in diplomacy. That's it.
S-
You
Speaking,
know, and I will tell you, there's been many instances in the past that we have to deal with Cambodian side standing up nationalism for certain purposes. And, I think and, you know, what they're doing partly might be for domestic political purposes. And I don't think, we should not be engaging in these tactics if we want our relationship to move forward.
just quickly, speaking of diplomacy, you recently met with the foreign minister of Myanmar, and you expressed hopes to bring Myanmar back into the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, known as ASEAN. Nearly 5 years after the military coup, you know that there are some criteria to allow them back, including obviously an end to the fighting and inclusive dialogues. Those conditions are not met. So why are you saying we need to bring Myanmar back now into ASEAN?
Well, they've had elections. It's not a perfect election,
Far from it.
but it can all, yes, but it can also be a transition in their domestic politics. And what we're saying is we're not endorsing the election. We're urging them to continue forward after the election with dialogue, with reconciliation, and also hoping that they would establish a peace process. This is a message. It's not that we're embracing the election. No, no. but that the election has taken place. That's the reality. And so, what what we are doing is urging that if they want to re-engage, and we certainly want to re-engage with Myanmar, we meaning Thailand and ASEAN, we the Myanmar side also has to make efforts to show that they want re-engagement. It's not a one-way street; it's a two-way street. They have to continue with dialogue, reconciliation, and establishing a viable peace process. Because we want Thailand as a next door neighbor. We want sustainable peace in Myanmar. It's in our interest, and we have to work hard. We cannot just say we hope to have peace and this will happen. We are working for peace and stability.
Thank you very much, Mr. Foreign Minister, for being our guest here on France 24. And thank you all for watching this edition of Tête à Tête.